Mr. Depp, what's reflected in these photographs?
There were some scratches. Another altercation, and there were some mishearded come at me with her nails, her hand scratching at me.
And who took these photographs of you?
Once again, I believe this was Mr. Pett, Sean Pett.
And when were these photographs taken?
Seems to be Christmas, or 10 days before Christmas, the 15th of December 2015.
Mr. Depp, do you remember what led to you having these scratches on your face?
This was yet again another confrontation where as was my regular practice, there had been an altercation. She was she had some rage issue with me, and I remember that I was trying to go to my corner, as it were, which is I was going into my office in penthouse 3, which is upstairs. And as I was approaching the door to my office, Miss Heard ran out of the master bedroom, or bedroom, and started just throwing wild punches at me, at the back of my head, at the side of my head, at anything that she could connect with. And I had to, I would have to show you sort of how I tried to avoid the attack.
Please do.
If it's all right.
Yes, yes, sir.
If I'm walking this way to the door of my office, the bedroom door is where you are. I'd walked across the mezzanine there, and as I'm approaching the door, suddenly I'm just getting clobbered from behind, and one's natural primal instinct is to kind of duck and cover. So I ducked and covered, but they didn't stop. So I came up this like this, sort of protecting my face, but at the same time, with her arms swinging wildly, I put my arms out, and I was able to get her into a bear hug or something, just to stop her from hitting me anymore. And while holding her in that position, she was still trying to, she had her legs, she could kick, she could knee me. So she was still jumping, kind of very angry, very animated. And yeah, it was unpleasant.
What happened at the end of that situation?
Because of the grabbing of the arms and holding them to her side so that I didn't receive any more blows, and she was still fighting. I believe there was some kind of contact with our heads, our foreheads, as would happen if you're trying to calm someone like that. And then that was when she accused me of headbutting her, of giving her a headbutt and breaking her nose. But there was no blood. There was no. I didn't hit her nose. If there was anything at all, it was a bump of. Well, I'm trying to restrain her. She's trying to get out of it. There's going to be some contact here and there, accidental contact, but not a headbutt.
How did you escape this altercation?
After she'd made the remark about the fact that I headbutted her, which was just impossible, she split. She huffed off. I let her go. She huffed away, and she was gone for about 7 or 8 minutes. And then when she came back, I was in the bedroom of Penthouse 3, our bedroom. And she came back about 7 or 8 minutes later, and she had a Kleenex or a tissue to her nose. And she pulled it away from her nose and she showed it to me. And there was red. There was indeed like red color on the tissue. But me, I know that there was no connection to her nose. No part of my body made connection to her nose or eyes or anything like. So she said, she took it away and she showed it to me. She said, "Way to go, Johnny, you broke my nose. You broke my nose." And I knew I hadn't, so I said, you go into sort of placation mode, which is, "Oh my God, let me see, are you okay? What happened? Let me see." And she wouldn't let me see anything. And so I just tried to calm the situation as best I could. All the while, I was waiting for her to dispense with that Kleenex because I didn't trust it. And so I waited, and when she dropped it into the wastebasket in her bathroom, or in our bathroom, and left the room, went somewhere downstairs, I think, I don't know. And then I pulled the Kleenex out of the trash bin, and I inspected it pretty closely and realized that it was nail polish. It was nail varnish or polish.
Mr. Depp, shortly after December 15th, 2015, where did you and Ms. Heard go for the holidays? It had been planned for a while that we would be going to the island, and we would be going to the island with my kids, Lily Rose and Jack, and Lily Rose's boyfriend at the time, there's a friend of Amber's called.
You may have noticed that no one showed up for Ms. Heard in this courtroom other than her sister. Every other witness who traveled to Virginia for her was a paid expert. This is a woman who burns bridges. Her close friends don't show up for her. Mr. Rottenborn tried to discredit Mr. Depp's witnesses by suggesting they're all on Mr. Depp's payroll. So he doubled down on the hoax theory, that everyone's just lying. First of all, it's not even true Keaton Wyatt is on his payroll. Ben King isn't on his payroll. Officer Melissa Sines isn't on his payroll. Morgan Tremaine isn't on his payroll. Officer Tyler Haddon, he's not on his payroll. Beverly Leonard, Alejandro Romero, Brandon Patterson, Morgan Knight, none of those people are on his payroll. And Kate Moss is most definitely not on Mr. Depp's payroll. Ms. Heard wants you to believe that all these people are lying. Let's talk about the Boston plane. Ms. Heard wants you to believe that the recording you heard is from the Boston plane flight. But that's quite telling. What did Ms. Heard capture of this supposed rampage? Mr. Depp moaning in distress? That's what she chose to record. What sort of person records something like that? What sort of person takes pictures of their husband or boyfriend or fiance who's struggling with sobriety, nodding off with ice cream dripping down his leg, his hand in his pocket, or asleep on the ground? What sort of person does that? Definitely not someone that's afraid of him. And Ms. Heard's attorney told a story of May 21 that was completely, utterly inconsistent with the testimonies of Officers Sines and Haddon, who testified clearly that they saw no signs of injury, no sign of property damage. Ms. Heard's attorneys tried to tell you that Mr. Depp apologized on May 22nd because he had hit Ms. Heard. Mr. Depp didn't apologize to Ms. Heard on May 22nd for hitting her. He apologized because he was leaving Ms. Heard. And this was a woman that, in spite of all her violence and all her rage, Mr. Depp, he loved her. He had been with her for years. Of course he apologized when he finally broke it off. Take a minute and think back to what Ms. Heard did 6 days later, 6 years ago today. She walked into court with a visible mark on her face, not wearing makeup that day. She tipped off TMZ, she made it public, and she showed up on the cover of People magazine with a mark on her face. Was that protecting Mr. Depp? Or was she trying to destroy him? Mr. Rottenborn asked you to consider why you're here. So why are you here? You're here because of a lie. And that was a lie that Ms. Heard repeated in the op-ed.
Ladies pop that.